They've been challenging, they've been dynamic, there's been lots of things we've had to deal with at short notice. Firstly and foremost, I want to thank so many people who have helped us hugely over the last number of days. It's obviously been a fast-changing environment. We've been dealing with a lot of unexpected things happening, and we're hugely grateful and thankful for all the support we've had from so many groups and individual people. Obviously our assistance on the ground in South Africa, but also the IRFU, the South African Rugby Union, the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Government of Ireland. I also want to especially thank Her Excellency Ambassador Fionnuala Gilson and so many people, all of the Munster Rugby staff, all of the IRFU staff, the URC, our partner Rugby Travel Ireland, and the Irish Embassy in South Africa for all their assistance over the last number of days. They've been excellent. We obviously have had a people-first approach. We were very fortunate to be able to bring back 34 of our players and staff. That group arrived back into Ireland yesterday, and they left Cape Town on Tuesday and travelled through the night. Again, so many people were instrumental in helping us to bring that group safely back to Ireland. On re-entry into Ireland, all of the individuals in that group have begun the mandatory self-isolation quarantine as prescribed by the government, and they're undertaking that quarantine at a mix of hotel and home environments. The group that travelled from Cape Town on Tuesday night had all returned 4 negative PCR tests over a 6-day period. They had all been self-isolating in individual hotel rooms at the hotel in Cape Town since Sunday evening, and they all travelled in FFP level 3 protective masks. The 34 individuals who came back into Ireland yesterday, they're Munster players, Munster staff, but first and foremost, they're our people. We're delighted we're able to bring them back as soon as possible and as safely as possible. We know there was huge concern, particularly on the part of friends and families of every individual in that group. It also brought home to us how privileged we are and how fortunate we are to have so many people who are able to help us, and the resources we have available. I know from talking to the ambassador on the ground in South Africa that there are far more people in far more challenging circumstances than us, and we are hugely fortunate to be able to get that group back safe and sound. It was obviously very difficult for the majority of the group to leave South Africa and to leave some of our people behind us. We have 14 players and staff who are in isolation in Cape Town at the moment. They are completing their mandatory 10-day quarantine period in Cape Town, and we look forward to welcoming that group back safely into Ireland when their mandatory quarantine period has finished. The group is being extremely well cared for on the ground through our South African assistance. They have full access to medical treatment. Thankfully, the group is safe and well, largely asymptomatic. The symptoms seem to be mild for those that have experienced symptoms. So we are very hopeful that they will come through this period without experiencing more severe symptoms. So the group of 14 who remain behind in Cape Town have full access to daily medical attention, also all mental health supports. And again, I want to thank our friends at Saru and particularly Yuri Roo for his assistance on the ground in that regard. And we are obviously in daily contact with that group also. So we have 3 groups effectively at the moment. We have the group of 14 in quarantine and isolation in Cape Town. We have the group of 34 individuals who returned to Ireland and are now in mandatory self-isolating quarantine, who all tested negative before travelling back to Ireland. And apart from those two groups, which was the original touring party to South Africa for URC round 6 and round 7, we also have a completely separate group who continue to train and play and plan for our upcoming fixtures in the Heineken Champions Cup, based at the High Performance Centre in Limerick. So obviously the key point I want to make is that for now, even though we're a professional rugby club, rugby is completely secondary to everything that's going on. At the moment, our priority, first and foremost, is our people, the health and safety of our people, and that we get them back to Ireland, and that everyone is safe and well. The group based at the HPC is continuing to play and to plan for the upcoming fixture against Wasps on the 12th of December. The difference which has arisen in the last few days is a new variant, a variant that seems to be highly transmissible, and we will plan accordingly. I think the last 20 months have shown us that we can get on with the business of playing games and completing fixtures and so on. But the key thing to say is that we've got excellent people pulling together. We've got academy staff, senior staff who didn't travel to South Africa, and they're all working hard now at the HPC every day to go ahead with the planning for the upcoming fixtures. Obviously, we're in regular contact with EPCR. We're not the only club in this situation, travelling back from South Africa, having significant groups of players unavailable for the upcoming fixtures. So it's very much a case of an ongoing dialogue with EPCR to see where we end up in those conversations. So the group at the HPC is being led at the moment by Ian Costello, our academy manager, and ably led also, I will say, by our captain Peter O'Mahony and all of the Irish internationals who did not travel to South Africa. That group is preparing well for the upcoming game against Wasps. So as well as our international players, we obviously have rehabbing players, we have players from our academy, we have our provincial talent squad players, we have national talent squad players, all training together at the HPC at the moment. Obviously the key point to make is that we are in the middle of a pandemic. The last few days have shown us that the best laid plans can be torn up, and that we have to be agile, we have to be adaptable. So we're prepared for whatever comes next in the coming days and weeks of the season. Again, what the last few days have shown us is that plans can change and we have to adapt to changes in the environment. But as things stand, yes, as long as we can field a squad of 23 players who can go out there and represent Munster, we intend to complete the fixture and to take the field against Wasps on Sunday the 12th. There's an awful lot of moving parts going on at the moment. The situation seems to change not just on a daily basis, but on an hourly basis. We are doing everything we can to be agile, to adapt to the situation and to be prepared for whatever the season throws at us and to be prepared for whatever COVID throws at us. I think the last few days have demonstrated, if proof were needed, what an incredible group of people we have within the club, but also outside the club, working with us to help our players and to help our staff. It's been genuinely heartwarming to see the support, to see the concern that's been expressed in the last number of days, and to see the assistance coming from every quarter to ensure, A, that we come back to Ireland safely, but also that we can go out there in the coming weeks and months to represent Munster and to go and play as Munster. So finally, all I can say is heartfelt thank you again to everyone within the club, to all our supporters all around the world, to all the people who've helped us over the last number of days especially. It's been terrific to see the level of support out there for Munster, and the players, the staff, the management are hugely grateful for that support. And more than anything, I want to say thank you to the families and the friends of the travelling group who went to South Africa. They've been incredibly supportive, incredibly resilient. It hasn't been an easy time for any of the families. There's people and there's families behind it all, and we've done everything we can to support the people and the families. And I want to say a thank you to the families of the players and the staff especially. They've been incredibly understanding, and as we go through this period now where we have two groups in separate countries in quarantine, it continues to be a challenging time for them, and we continue to support them as best we can.